I need a higher bit rate. There we go. 0 drop frames. And I hope that now our audio issue will be fixed in the next stream. Let me just make sure that it sounds good. There we go. 0 drop frames. And I hope that now our audio... Okay, that sounds better. Alright, I'm going to get started here. So let me just share this stream. So we're actually back on the board that we were looking at yesterday. And it failed our camera test, so the camera would randomly drop out. And if you guys remember, I was talking about how it's really easy to float that chip on the other side, and even using the smallest nozzle and being really careful with the heatsink over it, we still managed to float it. It is a very sensitive area. And it didn't really float it. It just kind of, one ball isn't connected. And what probably happened actually is a little part of the chip got desoldered, and our heatsink actually kind of weighed it down and pulled it away from the board. So we are going to replace that chip, and it should work just fine. I'm also going to replace the camera memory buffer here. So we're going to do both of them. Let me make sure I have both of them before I say something. But the plan is to replace both of them. So I'm pretty sure I found what my issue was. In OBS, it was set to not use much of the CPU. Now it's using much more of the CPU, and it should be better now. Alright, so let me grab another A1708 donor board. I could probably take that webcam buffer off of another board, but if I have an A1708, then I'm going to take it off of an A1708. And usually China steals that webcam buffer, but the camera, a lot of the times the camera CPU is still left on, but the camera buffer is not. So hopefully, I mean, for all I know, they tested this and the camera was screwed up, and that's why it's taken off the board. I don't know. Alright, so we're just gonna... You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna reball the camera buffer. I don't want to reball the camera CPU, but I'm just gonna reball it, because the camera CPU is a little bit sensitive to heat, and that's, you know. Alright, let me go over to my microscope. Yep. Alright, so here's our board. Now, this is after ultrasonic cleaning and after we conformal coated it. Everything looks great. It looks perfect. And if we look around this chip, there really isn't obvious damage except for this capacitor that got corroded right here. So that's really our only sign right there, and I didn't even notice that until now, but that's not our issue. There's no like elephant ears or anything on any of these resistors around this. It looks totally fine. Little bit of corrosion here, but that's nothing. That's literally nothing. Yeah, this looks completely fine. And the camera works. It just drops out every once in a while. So let's go ahead and get this underfill from under this. So what my method is I use 200 Celsius. So I'm going to get my big nozzle. (200 Celsius) is not hot enough to melt solder, but it's the perfect temperature to scrape away this nasty underfill. So since I'm going to be reballing the RAM chip, I'm going to heat it up and scrape this underfill. So I just want the board to get nice and hot. And once you're hot enough, the underfill really easily scrapes away, because it'll really easily start to come off once you're heating it sufficiently. At least Apple underfill is somewhat easy to work with. Lenovo uses this. Lenovo uses the same underfill that they use on the CPU dies, and it's impossible to get out. Well, I shouldn't say impossible, but it's not fun, and I'm not gonna do it at all. That's why I don't work on Lenovo laptops. I'm not going to worry too much about that little bit by this capacitor. I'm live again, Christian, because yesterday there was 30 people watching my stream, and normally there was about 5 to 8. So I'm not going to stream for 5 to 8 people. I'm sorry. But we have more now, so we're good. Scrape all this underfill garbage away. 200 Celsius really is the perfect temperature for this. It just all comes right off so easy. And we're also serving another important function, is we are preheating the board, so this chip is going to be really easy to take off when we're ready. So I got to get all of this crap out from under all these components before I do it. Or at least just the ends, because these are going to want to lift up once I take off this chip, and that's going to be a problem. I don't want to damage these components right here either, so. Now, I have a different method than what a lot of people use for taking off underfilled chips. A lot of people, what they do when they're heating, they'll grab the chip and twist it back and forth. I don't do that. So I do it in a totally different way that tends to work better for me. It may not work better for you, but it works better for me. So we don't need flux right now to remove it, and this board already went through ultrasonic, so I'm not going to do it again. Caleb is just pulling back in after getting lunch, says the person that wants to date him. So I'm going up to 430 again. I don't care about these old chips. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this little tool. Alright, so I'm going to use this little thing, right? Now I'm going to heat, right? I'm going to heat. I'm going to put this at the edge. And I'm going to feel. Once the solder melts, I'll feel it. And I'm going to flip it off the board. So I'm going to stick this under there. See, it's starting to melt. Keep heating, keep heating. And then it's off. That's it. Hey Caleb, a viewer of my channel wants to go on a date with you. It might be a man or a woman, I don't know. So we took this off with no ripped pads, nothing like that, really easily. We're going to do the same thing to this guy here. So that's how I do it. I find that if you twist the chip, it tends to do a little bit more damage and it tends to be a pain. So I like to just fling them off. Now, that chip I probably should find because I said we were going to reball it, but I guess we're not going to reball it now. We'll grab another one. Hopefully one from a MacBook Air works. It probably will. We'll find out. So anyway, same thing for the CPU, the camera CPU, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a camera CPU. So I'm going to heat. Wait till it melts. And then I will be able to, just like that. Beautiful. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is clean up the rest of this underfill. And first off, I'm going to grab my iron and try. Actually, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to try and clean up the area. And then in the center here, our iron and our wick is going to do 99% of the work. But I want to clear all this stuff around these chips around here too. And I'm going to do that with tweezers and my X-Acto knife. So I'm going to go back down to 200 Celsius. I was recommended this channel when this guy was teaching Caleb to solder a while back. That's funny. Caleb should be the new host. I hope that was NC. I really hope that was NC. At least it was at the edge, so. Yes, it was NC. Was it? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 NC, yes. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my iron and I'm going to clean up. I'm just going to wick. Where's my wire cutters? Caleb, do you have my wire cutters? Thank you. I was wondering where my wire cutters went. They were stolen. What was that?
Organized, Tim.
Did you hear that noise outside? No? Alright.
There's a sheriff outside.
Really?
Over there.
Oh. I didn't like it when someone came on here giving Caleb a hard time, some messed up guy who was booted by TCRS. That was Anel. Anel is a nice guy. I like Anel. Gotta go back to my BC15. Why is this hot? This tip wasn't on, and it's sitting on my desk and was hot. That's really bizarre. That's a mystery. That's a mystery. Just cleaning up some of this lead-free stuff so it's easier to wick. And I think I see another pad in there. Oh well. Or it just picked it up from the edge. We'll never know. Yeah, that's definitely an NC. I see it in the center. I don't even need the board view to tell me this is an NC. That's definitely an NC. Alright, so I'm going to very gently wick this chip. Vladimir is here. Yeah, NC pads on MacBooks really like to just fly off really easily. It's because you have to use a higher temperature to wick, and they just like to just fly off. Not a big deal. You see, probably all the NCs on this chip are gonna fly away. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Yeah, look at all those that fell off. Holy crap, that's a lot of pads that fell off. I didn't even realize that. That is a lot of pads. Our underfill is gone, though. So much for those pads. May they rest in peace. Let me just double check on the board view. These are all NC. John says, what did you mess up, Tim? I didn't mess up anything except the pads on this board. Yeah, these are all NC. If you follow along with the board view, every single one of these that is ripped or torn off is NC. So all these are held on by is a little bit of glue. You heat that, and they're going to fly right away. So they are not a concern. We could leave these guys off with no problem. Everything that is connected, and this is a groove in the board, that's slightly concerning. That's very concerning, especially that trace right there. So I'm going to clean this up. I must have gouged it a little bit when I took it off, but I don't think that was anything. I think that was just the top layer, but this one I am concerned about. And this one right here. So I am going to clean up the rest of this underfill really gently. It happens. Whoa, get back here. Alright, I think I just made this into a much bigger problem. Yeah, my tweezers made this into a bigger problem. I wasn't paying attention how my tweezers were bent like that. That guy's fine. Just going around scraping all the rest of this underfill off so the chip sits flat. That's a new account, Caleb. Is that you or is that a troll? The person in chat that says Caleb Espinoza.
No.
It's not you? Then somebody's making a fake account. It is you. I'm gonna ban you.
No.
Alright, so I gotta figure out what this stuff went to and fix it. It's just the first layer conformal coat. It's not in the board. Well, it technically is in the board, but it's not deep in the board. So this is definitely fixable. I just gotta figure out what these went to. And the first one here is ground. I don't care about that. So that big traced one is ground, and then these guys I could read the board and fix. So we don't have to worry about these as long as they're not shorted to any other internal layers. We are good to go. You can definitely see that one trace is broken there. Not of concern. I'll fix it. I like making mistakes on stream so people can see how to fix it. But at the same time, I also don't like making mistakes on stream because then there's going to be some idiot in a Facebook group that's going to make a post with a timestamp saying, oh, look at this idiot, Lee doesn't know what he's doing. So it goes both ways. The person that wants to go on a date with you, Caleb, says, Caleb, do you like to fly? Yes, Caleb likes to fly.
Go away.
Now would be an opportune time to dox your address.
Dude.
Or your phone number. Caleb's phone number is 805.
Stop! Tim!
You could reach Caleb anytime between the hours of... Never mind. He's gonna quit. And I need him as an employee. What did Peter say?
I do not want to go to the ranch, thank you very much.
Why did your profile picture change to Pepe this quick? Why is your profile picture Pepe?
Are you discriminating?
I'm not discriminating. Why is your profile picture Pepe though?
I can do whatever I want.
Not in my workplace. You're gonna get fired. You're gonna get fired.
Sounds like a talent.
So, I think that we should have a vote in chat, and that vote determines Caleb's employment status.
29 people are going to decide my fate.
29 people are gonna decide Caleb's fate, so you guys get voting. Does Caleb stay an employee or not? Alright, yeah, you know what, Travis, you're right. I do need Caleb as an employee. So we actually are proud to announce that Caleb is for sale for $250,000. So, Caleb's fate is determined if somebody wants to purchase him for $250,000. You want to go to Texas, Caleb?
Yeah.
You want to go? Perfect. Caleb said yes. He wants to go to Texas.
Oh, no. Wait. Chat now.
If only if he sucks at his job, he might learn enough to be employable some elsewhere eventually. So Caleb wants to go to Texas, so.
Wow, everybody wants me.
So in I've never had a female viewer on my channel hit on me in 4 years of streaming.
Okay.
And you're here for like a month, and there's multiple already. What a scam. Someone asked Caleb, come to India. Do you want to go to India, Caleb?
I don't want. Never mind.
You don't want to go to India?
No.
Do you want to take over as host on this channel? Where can viewers find your Instagram if they want to follow you or contact you?
No, my Instagram is personal, only for personal inquiries. No inquiries allowed.
I mean, you could probably just search.
No.
What is? Alright, so now I'm gonna fix my screw up and run little tiny jumpers. This looks fine, this looks fine. I think you're gonna end up with a... Yeah, you're gonna end up with a stalker if you keep on this channel, Caleb.
Aha.
What?
No Instagram.
What about Facebook? I mean, Caleb's Facebook would be really easy to find since, you know, he just kind of created a profile with his name, his full name, which was not very smart of him to do. But, yeah, you know. So if someone wanted to get in touch with Caleb, theoretically they could just search for his first and last name that he created on a profile without unknowingly. I should probably stop if I still want to have an assistant.
Smart.
Hey Caleb, hang on, let me make sure I mute. Business related matter. I gotta make sure. Yeah, this is. Camera is not frozen. I stopped to talk to for a business important matter. Alright, so I'm going to just get a little bit of jumper wire. No, we seriously had to talk about a customer, and I didn't want them to hear their name. That's all. It's nothing bad. It's just something that he has to do for this certain customer. That's all. Is that you or someone at the front? So this is the only one that needed a wire. My tweezers, the problem that it was, look at these tweezers. So what happens, I was scraping around here and I didn't realize that it wasn't flat and it just gouged the board. So that's what happened there. Not a big deal. It happens. So it's going to happen to you. You're going to do something similar if you have board repair. It doesn't mean you suck. It just happens. Message. Someone asked if I'm back to work and I'm streaming. So I guess that means I am back to work. So that wasn't my meter, that was my soldering station. Let's see. Okay, I'm back. Now it is time for us to reball a chip. I don't want this wire to keep running away, but it wants to run away. And then no, I made so much work on that. Why? There we go. Beautiful. That is done. Now what I'm gonna do is get a chip reballed here. So we're gonna take a break from this board. I'm gonna pull a chip and we're gonna reball it. Now, people make a big deal about reballing this chip. Actually, here's my camera, my webcam. I didn't even see this. So we're going to try and reuse this if there's no damage to it. So I will prepare this in a second. And here's our, I'm not going to reuse this. So there is a slight chance, there was a little bit of liquid around this. There's a slight chance that it was electrically damaged. Unlikely, but it's possible. But so we're going to discard this. And Catherine is here. And I am going to grab a new webcam chip. First off, I want to clean my desk because there's underfill everywhere, and underfill is not appropriate to be on your desk. Tim is board repair next generation. I am next generation board repair? This actually isn't alcohol. This is CP64. This is an operating room disinfectant. Why do I have an operating room disinfectant? I don't know. But I bought several gallons of it back when COVID started, and it's heavily concentrated. And it makes about 64 gallons of this stuff, so it's good stuff. I recommend it. It's called CP64. It's better than anything else I've tried for cleaning. It doesn't delaminate retina screens. It cleans really well. It's not really harmful. It doesn't have a noxious odor. One funny thing is, when I was at practical board repair school, well, when I was teaching MacBook class, Jessa challenged me to try and kill a chip with heat. Not a CPU, a regular standard package like this RAM chip, BGA, and QFN chip, and I couldn't do it, even leaving my soldering iron on there for a really long time. So I used to be really off against reballing something like a RAM chip, but yeah, the chances of killing it from heat are really close to nothing. So let's clean off this guy. So there's some underfill here. Now, I'm debating on which way I want to do this. I don't know if I want to scrape it off or if I just want to use my iron to take it off. And I'm just going to try my iron because it should come right off. How is the cost compared to your usual drink of choice? I think it was about $50 for a gallon of this stuff, but every gallon you can make 64 gallons of the cleaner out of it. So that's a really good deal. That's a really good deal. And we found something new for cleaning retina, the delamination off retina screens. It's called Brasso. It's made for polishing metal, and it just works so excellent. Alright, so it's not hard to see that this is not going to be practical to do it this way. Here it goes. No. We're going to scrape. I just want to wick the excess solder because I do not want to rip a pad off this chip. So I am going to flux this. And I'm going to wick. And probably most of this underfill is going to come off with the wick. But that little bit that doesn't, we will mop up. Oh yeah, Brasso, Anel, I did kill the camera. Anel is here. And I was even extra careful to not kill the camera, and it still died. To be fair, I don't know if I killed the camera or not because the camera chip had liquid damage around it. So it may have died prior. But this is why we test. We're very thorough at testing here. Yeah, Brasso smells like very strong ammonia. It's really nasty stuff. You're probably supposed to use a respirator on it or something. I don't know. But it's not very pleasant. I will say that. Whoa. You get back here. You don't get to run away. You don't have privileges to run away, little ram chip. You do not have privileges to run away. Only I have privileges to run away. One day I would like to run away from the store. You're running away again. I told you don't have privileges to run away. Oh, this is gonna suck. What? Let me look at the numbers on this. Let's see. This doesn't have firmware on it. Can I just pull this off of a MacBook Air? If so, that would be wonderful. 70N45. That's the date code. That's the date code. I don't want the date code. That's a Hynix chip. It's probably got to be the same. That's again a Hynix chip. D9. Okay, so. I couldn't see how Listerine would work. D9SDD. D9SHD. Can I use it? Let's do an experiment. So, you know what? That's what research is all about. Can we use the same camera buffer chip? Actually, let's take it a step further. Can we use a camera buffer and a camera CPU off of a MacBook Air on an A1708? What's everybody think? Let's put in our bets before we start doing this. I am going to go with yes. So let's see if this will work. Let's see. And as far as the camera CPU goes, BC BCM chip. BCM 15700. BCM 15700. Okay, so I'm going to try and transplant this. Instead of using an A1708, I am going to try and see. Well, first, I have flux in my hand, and that has to go away before we do anything. So I'm going to pull these chips off of a MacBook Air, and then we're going to transplant them. So I'm going to remove the glue from around them, and this would really save me from scraping underfill, which would make me happy. Christian says he's here for Magic Smoke. Should we give Christian what he asked for? Who wants to, after we get these chips off, who wants to take a 5-second break for some Magic Smoke generation? I say we take a 5-second break after these chips are off the board for just a little bit of Magic Smoke generation. I just burned myself. That hurt very badly. Come off. Come off. There we go. Alright, Luke says he does not think it'll work. D9 SHD. Alright, Micron Technology. Four gigabyte Micron Technology. D9HSD. Now let's try D9HDD. 4 gigabyte. DDR3 SD RAM for 4 gigabit. Alright, so this will not work. D9, what was it again? D9S DD. It doesn't look like we can get info on it. Alright, so everybody wants Magic Smoke. So after we pull these guys off, we will make some Magic Smoke. So Okay. So, that is done. Let's go grab a board to make a little magic smoke. Caleb, where's your laptop?
Get out.
Where's your SSD? Where's your RAM?
No.
Okay. So, here's an Intel chip. This is some old board. I don't know what this is from, but I see that this capacitor goes under this Intel chip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to solder my DC power supply. And Caleb is going to sit here and hit the button while we send 30 volts to this Intel chip. Just in case it causes any eye damage, it doesn't ruin my eyes. No, Caleb will not volunteer. This one's easier. We're going to try this one. Alright, what's going to happen to this? Is it going to explode?
Solder to the CMOS battery.
What?
Solder to the CMOS battery.
Nah, that's dangerous.
30 volts to CMOS.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have safety glasses here?
No.
We don't?
I used to.
What happened to them? Alright, this is at 30 volts, right?
Now go away.
We're at 30 volts? Whoa. That was boring. Nothing happened. The chip got hot, but nothing happened. That was a scam. Somebody thinks... So Travis thinks that that's a no. I think he's right. Your secret admirer is actually a no.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to try something a little bit different. I am going to try and kill this by just draping the wire across the board near the PCH or whatever the hell it is.
Welding class. Nothing happens.
Why though? Oh, because it's burned. Did my power supply just die? Oh no. Or there's a thin layer of flux protecting it. I think I just broke my power supply. It's not funny.
It's funny.
Whoa. Alright, so we're working. Do something exciting. Come on. Alright, you see how hard it is to kill something? Look at this. I'm literally... Didn't do anything. I think ground isn't connected. Or I melted the ground wire.
Where's the no?
Travis, I'm trying to blow up this one chip. It's not doing anything. Alright, screw it. I'm going to solder it across this. And then we have to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, 30 volts. It's literally... There we go. Something exploded, but not what we wanted to explode. This is boring. What about one of these data lines? One of these data lines has got to give us something. Whoa, did you see that? A little burn mark. The chip is bubbling. Look at that. So this is what happens if you send 30 volts to components on a MacBook. Nothing. How disappointing. What about this one? I'm not stopping until I see one component blow its lid off. Before someone suggests the CPU, don't even suggest it because nothing will happen. Been there, done that. Right on 3 data lines. We're at 30 volts. Let's do it. Whoa, that was a little bit of smoke. Just a resistor, though. The resistor is smoking. Nothing's happening to the chip, though. This is disappointing. I wanted a fire. Something on here has got to die if you put too much voltage into it. Let's try this side. I just want a little fire. Just a little fire. This actually is an old MacBook. Alright, this is boring. What else on here can I try and blow up? Something very weak. That looks like it can handle a lot of power. It's not going to be that. The SMC. The SMC primarily deals with 3 and 5 volts. Alright, SMC, you're going to blow up. You're going to blow up first, right? There we go. That's what we came to see. That's what we all wanted to see. Magic smoke. It smells very magical. Fire, come on. Alright, that was better than nothing. Whoa, well, look at that soot that got on there. That's cool. So we got some reaction out of this. Let's try in a different spot. What about on its clock line? Yeah, clock line. Alright. I want to see some violence. Okay, that was a little something. But that was a relatively weak death. Alright, I'm going to try again on this guy. Aha, what about on its RTC line? Let's unplug the RTC battery first. this is my last one because I got to get back to work. This is too entertaining to stop, and yeah, nothing's going to get done. All right, so last time, 3.3 volts and it's RTC line. 3.3 volts and it's RTC line. Come on, blow your lid. Full short. Darn it. Chip is hot, nothing. Alright. One more. What's on this side of the board? Nothing interesting, nothing that's gonna blow up. About right here. About on this little CPU data line. See, putting it on CPU power is not gonna do anything. But maybe on a CPU data line it will. I should start a electro destruction playlist. I bet people would actually watch it. That's entertaining. Okay. 30 volts right into the die of a CPU data line. This is going to be boring. It's not going to blow up. Been here, done that. See? That is 30 volts. Nothing happens. Except getting hot. That's the only thing that's going to happen to it. Okay, continuing. This was a waste of time. Alright, so here is our pulled RAM chip that we are going to reball. So I am going to just drag my iron across these pins. Some oxidized pads, that's not a problem. This is a done deal. All these look beautiful. Except for this one. There, now it is ready. Yeah, that was disappointing, Travis. I think we need more than 30 volts to make something explode. I think we need like 70 volts or 110 volts. It's just not going to happen at 30 volts. Do we have a box for all those? Well, we better find one. Huh? I'm going to find a stencil for this. It should be on this one. Nope, not on that one. So I'm going to have to go hunt for a stencil that has the right pitch for this particular RAM. They're just using a 4 GB RAM chip as a buffer from the webcam, which is totally not creepy, but is what it is. RAM chip stencil. Not this one. Is it? No. Why are you even testing that one? It needs a battery, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not kernel panicking because I think it was the disk, but it froze, like I couldn't move the mouse
When?
right now. So I restarted.
Did you try a different disc or a different cable? Because it can be the cable too. Just don't worry about that one. Worry about getting those other ones ready to go out. Paul Daniels is here. Please line up. You didn't line up. That's so disappointing. Beautiful. You lined up. But it's not big enough. No. See, I want one with a deeper. Do I have one with a deeper pitch? I think I used this one before. Yeah. Whatever. I'll just have to hold it. That should be alright. Should be just fine. Cam is here. Joseph King, melanoma is skin cancer. Melatonin is the sleep hormone. Make some dry paste here. I'm okay, Cam. We're going to get some of this dry paste. Nell is probably at work. Where he should be, rightfully so. There we go. So I'm going to go with my usual temperature for reballing, which is the very low 300 Fahrenheit and 1% airflow. If you use 1% airflow on the quick, you'll never have a ball that jumps out. It'll come right out. It'll flow right into place. Your fingers might get a little bit burned, but that's okay. We don't care about our fingers getting burned here at TCRS Circuit. That is this. That is that, I should say. We can just pull this chip out, and it is beautifully perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. 300 Celsius, Cam. 300 Fahrenheit's not hot enough. Flow these guys into place. So their pitch is just perfect, like that. Beautifully, beautifully done. We're going to put our new chip to the side. Let's do our CPU now. Here's our camera CPU. This one's a little bit harder to do. I think I just got an email. Same here, Paul. The bottom right ball is a little bit small, says Paul. Don't even tell me I gotta redo this. It's fine. Look. Look at it at the angle. They're all perfect. They're all beautiful. They're perfect. Alright, so I'm going to put my RAM stencils back in my holder for the RAM stencils. I totally forgot I had this giant stencil kit with all the stencils for CPUs and everything. Now I'm gonna get my... I'm curious. I've been streaming all this time and my CPU load is at like 50%. I wonder what my temperature is gonna be now. Because this is a new chip. This is a new cooler. I did not want to buy this computer. I really did not want to buy this computer. But let's see. Oh. It's not installed. Never mind. Don't throw that one in the trash pile yet, Paul. I'll message you, or message me after the stream because I know I'll forget, and we'll go through it a little bit more. Look how nice acetone works. Acetone really works really well. I have a 5600X, Catherine. It seems like a nice little CPU, but I've only used it for a day. Okay, so where... This is going to line up like this. Just like this. This is a bit of a pain to do. I'm not going to lie. I'm not good friends with this chip, this camera chip. It's a real pain to do. I'm actually going to tape it down. Caleb did break my computer, okay? He changed the cooler on it. And after he changed the cooler, it started pulling memory errors.
No.
It was totally fine until I gave it to him to change the CPU cooler.
Well, who impulse buy a CPU cooler? Huh? Yeah.
Alright, I impulse bought a new CPU cooler. I impulse bought a CPU cooler. Caleb installed the CPU cooler, and then the CPU started not being right. And then it randomly went to 109 Celsius and passed away peacefully. Paul Daniels said, the smell of acetone triggers me. I like the smell of acetone. It smells like death. Just kidding. I don't like the smell of acetone at all. I hate it, but it works good. Okay, now Caleb's not telling the full story. I kind of did try and overclock that CPU to 5 gigahertz, but that only happened after Caleb told me, I bet you can't get that to 5 gigahertz. And he told me if I got it to 5 gigahertz, he would buy me a 5800X. So I tried to get it to 5 gigahertz, and it did not work. What brand of dry paste is that? This is Amtech solder paste, and it doesn't come out dry. I have to make it dry. Alright, so we're at 300 Celsius and 300 Celsius and 1 liter per minute of air, and we're going to watch this chip be perfectly reballed with no jumpy balls, nothing like that. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be absolutely perfect, except for that one solder ball. It's always one solder ball. Let's let it harden, and then we're going to push him back in here. You're going to be a good little solder ball, and you're going to go back where you belong. You're going to be a good little solder ball. Looks like there's a piece of plastic on it or something. That's fine. Okay, let's see how much of a massive fail this was. And it's beautiful. Just have to float into place, and then we're ready to basically put this on the board, and hopefully our webcam works, because then if not, I'm going to go in a corner and cry. But passed all testing except the webcam test. This looks good. Looks really good. Alright, now let me grab my motherboard. And looks like I did not clean the camera buffer area yet. This area. It's alright, this is gonna be a breeze. The paste is 183, Cam. It'll melt at 183. Gonna put flux here. One second, guys. Cam, the tiny ball in the center doesn't matter, it'll be fine. And if you're talking about on this area, then I don't care because it's not done, and that's actually glare, not a ball. And this is probably an NC. Kind of using my wick to clear the underfill to the best that I can. I'm using hopefully the stream just didn't cut out because I am dropping some frames. And that is 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is an NC. Yeah, I think Chris is a hacker. I think he's hacking my stream, so it drops frames. I dream of bringing a dead board back to life using these techniques. Well, it doesn't have to be a dream. I mean, oh, did I do it again over here? Hopefully not. I think that's just coding. I hope that's just coding. I don't want to run wires over here. That does. Damn tweezers. I gotta throw those away. Swear, those are gonna ruin my day. Again. Now I'm being really gentle when I'm scraping here. Like, I'm being really gentle. I'm letting the knife and the X-Acto do all the work. I'm gonna clear all this underfill off. So this is at 200, which is just barely hot enough to melt leaded solder. Again, that was an NC. Hopefully. Can you lock that door before someone comes in? On this side, thank you. What are you looking for?
There's like discrepancy in bottom faces.
What do you mean a slight discrepancy?
The numbers are.
Underfill is this like epoxy-like substance that they inject under chips to keep them more stable, so they don't develop cracks under them or anything. Alright, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. NC. This looks good enough. I'm gonna have to do some touch-ups on these. Let me see if I can scrape any more out from under. Let me know how it is, Paul. Did you fix the discrepancy?
No.
Well, what? Tell me what it is. What's missing? You want me to mute?
No. Just one of them's number 2 and one of them's number 5.
Well, I remember on one of them we might have switched screens around. What?
We'll figure it out later.
I do like the button on the JBC. I've used JBCs before. I do like the JBC, but it's too expensive for the price. It's really too it's what you get for the price. It's not worth the $2,000. Like if you're coming from from like a blower and handle station or an FR801, you're gonna be blown away by the JBC. But if you're coming from a quick to a JBC, you're gonna be disappointed. Like I've had people say, "Oh, I have a quick 861 DW and I'm gonna buy a used Hacko FR801 to upgrade it." And I'm thinking, like, no, you're insane. Like an 801 kind of sucks. I mean, an 801 is a lot less powerful than an 861. Like a lot less powerful. Wish there was some like chemical you could just put on this and it would just dissolve it, but I'm sure there is, but it's probably toxic as hell. Ow, I burned myself again. Okay, I'm gonna solder my CPU first. Get a little bit of flux down. Now I'm gonna be really, really careful with my flux because I do not want a thick layer on this. I just want a little bit. So I'm really just putting a thin layer. I want a thin layer on all the components around it too, but I just want just enough to get this chip on because I don't want to have to ultrasonic this again. A thin layer of flux is going to do no harm to any of the components when left on the board like this. I think there was one thing, yeah, so I want to just touch this. Like that. Now let's get our chip. I gotta figure out orientation. I think it goes this way. No, it does not. It goes bottom side. Yep. Pretty sure it goes this way. So the dot would be in the bottom right. Yep. That was the hard one. The RAM is really easy. Just want to make sure I didn't cut anything, and I don't think I did. I do not think I did. Now our RAM, I think, went on a different way. Where is my RAM chip? Here it is. RAM, the dot is in the bottom right. It would really suck to do all this and only have the MacBook Air parts not work. Done deal. So now what I gotta do is clean this up. I'm gonna go with alcohol first, and then we are going to finish up. What is this? This is like Q-tip debris that went in the ultrasonic, and it likes to collect. So I'm gonna clean with alcohol first, then acetone. So I'm just gonna kind of loosen it up, kind of get some of it away with just Q-tip and alcohol. Because the acetone like breaks down the flux and it crystallizes and turns into this white junk. So I kind of want to clean a lot of it or some of it before I use acetone. Well, not so just then. I just want to get the initial bulk of it off before I move in with acetone. Like that's fine. That's cleaner. And then acetone time. That little thin layer of flux is not going to hurt anything. And I do want to replace this one cap right here. And that's going to take care of any additional flux that's... I mean, I do not like leaving gobs of flux on the board. And I just noticed these two caps do not look good. These are Wi-Fi Desense caps. Those are like 3 or 12 PF, and those are not important, so I could probably just... I'm just going to rip those off. They're on PP Bus. There's so many of them. And I used to put them back on, and then it's really, I really realized it's not important. I mean, you're putting the board under much more heat stress replacing these than you would just knocking them off. It's not going to make any significant difference. So these guys, we just knock off. Come on. All right, it wants the pad to go with it. Whatever. Yeah, so those guys are of no consequence to leave off. I mean, the actual real consequence that some electronics engineer is losing their mind over right now is you're going to have like 0.000000000000001% more ground interference from Wi-Fi than you would with leaving them off. But I mean, that's never going to create a usability issue. It's not going to cause any issues that a user would notice. It's not going to cause any problems leaving them off to the board, so then it's not. Apple kind of went overboard with all the Desense capacitors on these boards compared to others, at least on the 2016 and prior. It's because the mobile team kind of took over and was like, oh, we need to be so concerned with RF stuff like they are on phones, and it's not. Alright, so this is cleaned up. This resistor doesn't look too hot. So we're going to help him out. Did they fit in that box, Caleb? Hello, Tim. I returned. That was a great nap, says John. I really wish I could take a nap. I have not been able to take a nap for 2 weeks. I usually like to take an afternoon nap. And I have not been able to take a nap since before I went to New York. I one time took a nap at work and I missed the mailman. I was asleep in my chair because I was up all night the night prior working. And the mailman was tugging on the door and the door was locked and I was sitting there asleep in my chair and he was probably looking at me. Thinking like, what is this guy, dead or something? Pulse point. Emergency somewhere. No, New York didn't disturb me. It's just I've been too busy to take a nap. I don't usually take naps on the weekdays, but I like to take naps on the weekend. I used to work religiously on the weekends. Now I don't. I will kind of just chill, and then I'll take a nap, and then I'll come to work later in the day. So this one cap I want to replace, and then we're done. And hopefully our board still turns on. And hopefully this was actually our issue, not something on the screen, which we won't know until we actually get this on there. I guess I could have pulled a new screen, but I honestly would rather do this than change a screen because changing a screen is kind of painful. So, yeah, so that happens to us. It used to happen to us too, John. Um, you can try bribing the FedEx guy. That sometimes works. Like, slip him $200 or something and say, like, hey, we open at 11. And then you're gonna hope that he gets the message and isn't just like, oh, free lunch for a week. Alright, now let me track down the enclosure for this, and we're gonna see if it works. We're gonna see if it still turns on. Hey Caleb, where's the enclosure for this machine that you took out? The camera one. Where?
Actually,
Just bring it to me. Thank you. Hey Caleb, can you bring me a test disc? What? Yeah, sometimes we get two FedEx a day. I mean, we'll get FedEx Express Saver, then overnight. Actually had FedEx Express Saver come on the ground truck before, which is really bizarre. FedEx is kind of screwed up right now. FedEx is really, I shouldn't say kind of, FedEx is really screwed up. Hey, seriously, can I get a USB-C test disc?
yeah.
Thank you. Alright, now we're going to hope this says working, not no camera detected. Because no camera detected would make me want to cry in a corner. Anthony Jabari is here, says, where's MacBook? MacBook is on the desk. Alright, so it still gets trackpad click, which is a good sign. But post. That is a chime, and that is backlight. Caleb lives in the walls, yes. He's scared of live chat. John, we used a camera CPU and a camera RAM chip off of an Air on this 1708, so we're going to see if it works. Not bad RAM, the bad camera, floated camera CPU controller thing. You may be right, Joseph. I don't know. I don't get into Caleb's personal business. This isn't a new shop, actually. This is the same shop that I was in. Only the customer service desk used to be here, and my desk used to be facing this way. And then I moved customer service to the other side, and now And then I moved my workstation to where the customer service used to be. Then I moved it all back. So now this is the workstation. Why isn't this booting? I have been here for going on, let's see, 2018, 19, 4 years. There we go. That's right, CPU's throttled. Alright, let's see. If this... You're gonna watch my soul just, like, leave my body if this webcam does not work. Alright, photo booth. And it is still screwed up, just like it was. So this is exactly what it was doing before. So it was doing this weird video distortion thing. So that is something unrelated to the chips that I just changed. It is probably a bad webcam in and of itself. So that means that everything was fine before, and now it isn't. It's, yeah. So I did all that for nothing. That's what I get. This needs the screen. Or there's corrosion on the... That's so sad. I can't believe I did that. Usually when the webcam and the screen... Let's see. That is a good thing, Noosa Cat. I do not want to look like a teenager. Not FlexGate, Anthony. Not even close. So... yeah, that's disappointing. Where is my T4? So yeah, I guess now we know that the chips will work from a MacBook Air. And we also know that Tim is an idiot. Because I'm not remembering rule number 1, which is you don't have a board issue until you know you don't have a parts issue. And that's exactly what this is. This is a bad webcam in the screen. So now I'm going to call the customer and let them know that hopefully they don't need webcam. Unless this is all corroded right here. Which is possible. And it is beautifully clean. So it is not that. It is a bad camera in the screen. What else can do this? Yeah, I don't know what else can do this. I mean, that's pretty much it. We replaced both things with new things. I just checked the ribbon cable, Vladimir. It's fine. That's more like a sensor issue. Alright, well, at least we know that. I could test it with another screen, but it's not going to change it. It's still going to be like that, and that's going to... It would be impractical to change the screen and a board repair for this one computer. It's just not practical. Okay, that's it for today, and that's it. Is the SMC all one component? Yes, the SMC is all one component. Alright, so I will see you in the next video.